Well, welcome aboard. This is Wesley Smith with Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast. We got another episode coming at you today on Friday. Happy Friday to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. We got plenty more interviews coming up shortly and marketing content that you're not going to want to miss. We got a very special guest on today, Phil Rogacki with Academy Train and Two Tree Guys podcast, who's got some really good information and value to share with us today. So we appreciate you coming on, Phil. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm sure I'm one of many very special guests that you have on the show.
Everybody is, man.
Everybody's special.
Share. That's the thing, really. And that's what I always talk about because, people that are in the industry,
Yeah.
Especially business owners that want to share their story about how they got from where they started to where they are 10, 20 years down the road. Everybody's interested in that type of content and hearing from people. And I know you got some great stuff to share too about training and your podcast, for example, as well. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started in the tree industry, man, and kind of what sparked it and where you kind of went from there.
Yeah, I'll give my 2 cent story that's out there. I'm sure a lot of people have heard it, but if you haven't heard it and you're listening to it, here it is. I'm originally from Ohio and moved out to California to travel the world and see everything that the states had to offer. My first stop was California, and I came in and was like, okay, I'm going to get a job here, and where am I going to work? I decided to work at the very first UFC gym in California, or the UFC gym anywhere. And there was two companies that were starting, the UFC and the owner, Mark Mastroff of 24 Hour Fitness. They were getting together, two multi-billion-dollar companies, to create the UFC gym. So I was like, getting in ground floor, the first 15 employees, I'll be able to grow up in this business. And then also at the same time, I was looking to fight. Had a background of fighting, wrestling, and wanted to get into the UFC in some way or some form. And I thought this would be a great way to get in. And then over the next, 6 months, year, training, doing stuff, I figured that the gym industry was not for me. And during that time, I met a gentleman named Jeremy Tibbetts that came into the gym that I signed up and became really close friends with. Well, Jeremy had a little tree care company, and he wanted me to come join his company. And I was like, you know what? I'm only going to be here for a year. What the heck? I'll come join your company. And I remember my very first day. It was in Vallejo, California, kind of the ghetto of California, and came into a garage that he found two desks on the side of the road, and one of those desks were mine. It was cold as hell, and he had a little wood burning stove in the garage, and he had about 6 guys working for him. And I was in the tree care business, and I just remember thinking, what the F did I just sign up for? What is this?
Yeah.
That was it. So that's how I got in and started working, and thought I was only going to work there for a year. And now it's been 13 years in the industry.
That's awesome, man. So a couple tips there. Number one, don't mess with Phil. He was looking to get into the UFC. Number two, it sort of seems like you kind of like just backed your way into the tree care industry, right? Or sort of accidentally fell into it, sort of, kind of, right? Like where you met him?
Yeah, I think the majority of people in our industry, they're either born into it and that's all they know. It's a family business. Or normally in our industry, you better knock on the right door with the right person that needs someone to pull brush in 100-degree weather with, poison ivy and blackberries. I mean, that's how you get in. The majority of tree companies out there are very small tree companies, and it's hard to get in our industry because they are small and they don't need somebody right away. And if they do need somebody, it's a big cost to add that person. And I just need you for groundwork. It's hard to move up in our industry. I was just lucky enough to come across a guy that was a very big visionary in what he wanted to do, not only for his company, but for the tree care industry alone.
Yeah, that's great, man. So 6 people when you first kind of got involved with them. And then it grew to how many team members did you say it was when it finally got to the largest part of it?
When we started growing the company, he had the company for about 9 years, started in 2001. I came in about 2010. And we both really didn't know exactly what to do and how to do. We were big visionaries together, and we had some great people on the team that were along with us and really helping to build it. And we, got our first little contract, got another little contract, and we figured out a formula, a certain formula of how to really grow this business, and it worked. So we just started replicating it. And over the next 5 years, we went from, 6 to 7 guys and girls up to 150 people. And we set up offices in Seattle and Oregon and Reno and LA, San Diego. We were doing work all over the West Coast. And our goal was to grow it all the way across the country in every major city in the United States.
Wow. That's amazing. So take me through some of that whenever you guys started growing. Was it what type of marketing did you guys do to kind of get the word out, to get that much volume coming in, to keep everybody busy? Because if you got a team that big, you got to have a lot of work lined up to keep everybody kind of moving and jiving and getting the work done, right? And scheduled out.
Absolutely. The first thing that we did is we learned that, and I know this would probably go against a lot of people that are listeners and maybe a lot of clients, is we got rid of our residential clients. Not got rid of them. We phased out focusing on residential clients. The reason why of that, because it was really hard to scale a company off Miss Johnson. And when she's going to call us back, because she got her income tax money coming in, and she's going to spend it. And this year on tree work. And then you go there to spend, 2 hours drinking milk and cookies with her to talk about everything but her, $200 plum tree for that. So it was really hard to scale. So we started focusing on the commercial side, on the multifamily apartments, light commercial on that, because they had a budget, and they had that budget every single year. And it was 10x the size of what you would have got from that local residential company. So this really helped us, expand fast, and to be able to forecast year over year over year. And when we got one management company, that company was set up in different markets across the country. They were like, can you go to Seattle? We got 65 properties there. We want you to do. Can you go to San Diego? We got 25 there. So that's really what helped us grow and expand. Yes, we still took care of the residential clients because that's where we got started. But it was not our bread and butter. And it went from 80 to 90% of the business down to like 5% of the business.
Right. A lot of our successful clients that we work with, and then people we spoke with as well, they diversify their client base. And I think that's a good point that you just shared right there, because a lot of people focus on the residential. And while that's great, those are kind of one-offs and two-off type jobs where, like you said, they may not need something consistently. They're going to need something every once in a while. So it's hard to predict and scale your business with predictable client base like that. But if you diversify out, maybe you get some commercial contracts, like you said, some HOA contracts, you get maybe some government municipality contracts, things like that. Keep the wheels turning, and to keep quarterly trimming and different things coming in that are routine. And another thing too is plant healthcare has gotten pretty big with a lot of the larger tree companies. They're bolting that on as a service too, because they've already got this big client base. Well, why not offer this as well? And it's more of a repeat, quarterly or maybe bi-monthly type treating process where you kind of get out there more often. And so those are some good points that you shared right there, because if you just rely on one side of the business, well, that one side could dry up, right? Another thing too, I think you guys starting out when you came in 2010, we were coming kind of right through the great financial crisis at that point, right? And kind of up market from that point on. So I think it was good timing too to kind of really scale at that point, right? Does that kind of probably help some too, because the economy started booming after that?
I wasn't with the tree company prior to that, so I don't know the struggles and things they were going through, but it was definitely changing up how we did things. In our industry, we only know one way, and that's it. And that's the only way every tree company usually does it. But we kind of, I'm not from the tree care industry. So coming in with a different side and different mindset, I was able to implement some things that worked for me. We didn't hire tree people to sell work. We hired professional salespeople, and we taught them how to do tree work. People that had the clients, people that knew the service industry and knew how to sell it. And then I just had to teach them what they're going to sell. That helped us on that. But to go back to what you were saying about diversifying, a lot of your listeners that are listening, I would say 90% of the companies are out there are probably less than 10 guys, owner, operator, out there in the field doing the work every day. And they started their company because they reached a capacity within their other company that they worked for with 10 guys. There was no other place to go but start your own company. So that's what a lot of people do. They have Mike's Tree Service. Well, then Larry that works for Mike's knows there's nowhere he can move up anymore in the company. So he has to go and start, Larry's Tree Service. Then Joe that works for him starts Joe's Tree Service. And to get back to by diversifying, guys, there's an endpoint that you want is you probably want to sell the company or pass it on. And let me tell you what's attractive to the buyers that are coming in to buy your company. They don't want you just to be a utility company. It's scary to them because you lose that one client, you lose your whole business. Diversifying in municipalities, in residential, in light commercial, in government, state contracting job. They want to see that you're very diverse, and that makes you a lot more attractive to a buyer if you're going to sell in 10, 15, 20 years. Plus what it does, if the housing market crashes again, you know what? That phone does not ring for Miss Johnson to call you. So what do? You have the government agencies, you got the multifamily industry that you can piggyback on that will support you through that.
That's awesome. Good tips there too. We actually had Andy Felix on. He went through selling his company and everything that the buyers are looking for. And that's one of the main things is a diverse portfolio of clients because it just keeps you more insulated to those downturns.
Exactly.
So you came into that business, you guys grew it. Everything was going well with that. What kind of happened next, man? Where'd you go from there, Phil?
It was in, we got a sad tragedy, and it was 2018. I got a phone call one morning from a friend of mine that said, Jeremy's in the hospital. I need you to give me his wife's number. And I said, don't call it. Why is he in the hospital? What happened? What's going on? I said, I'm on my way. And I was driving to the hospital to come see what's going on and talk to Jeremy. And my buddy called me back and said he died. He passed away. And my whole world right there was going, what the heck just happened? I just talked to him the night before and on a call, and we were chatting, and I was coming back from a meeting. He was coming back from a meeting. And his last words to me was like, dude, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to grow across this entire country. And he goes, we're going to be bigger than Davy Tree. I promise you that. And I said, I know, man. I know. He said, man, let's hook up tomorrow. We'll go do something. We always worked out together. And that was it. That was the last conversation I had. And came to the hospital, and he passed away. And, the whole world changed. Well, after that, some things transpired, and I got out of the tree care industry. That was it. I was done. I was going to move on, and I didn't know what I was going to do after that.
So it's kind of just like you guys' dream and kind of, vision for the company. Everything just kind of, the brakes got pumped at that point when he passed away. And that's a big tragedy. That's one of those things that kind of jolts you and shakes you from the core, especially when you're business partners, you're in it together too. I'm sure it's an everyday thing, right? You're talking every day, you're strategizing about what you're going to do and everything else. And then it just gets completely cut off and stopped right there.
It did. I mean, to know what you were going to do for the rest of your life. And I know a lot of listeners and people get to that point and go, they want you to know when you're 18 and going into college, and you just don't know sometimes.
No, you don't.
And even when you're in your 40s and 50s, you still don't know.
You still might not have it all figured out for sure.
Exactly. And sometimes you're just paying the bills and doing what you want to do. But I knew that was the company, that was the place that we were going to grow, and we were going to disrupt and change an entire industry. We were going to do what Elon Musk did to the car industry, what Steve Jobs did to the tech industry, what Uber did to the taxi industry is what we were going to do to the tree care industry and revolutionize it and change it so that everybody in the industry, I call it 5 up and 5 down, to give the average worker $5 more per hour than what he would have got if we weren't influencing certain things in the industry. And then 5 down is to get us out of the number one, death industry in the world or in the United States, and get us out of the top 5. I used to have a lot of pride saying most dangerous job in the world. Yep, the tree care industry. And I realized being the number one most dangerous job in the world, which I had a lot of pride saying that. I guess the more gray I get, the wiser I get, I realized that's last freaking place, people. We're in last place as an entire industry where men and women have to die and get injured and can't work anymore because of our industry and what we do on a daily basis. And we needed to change that. We needed to make it better.
Yeah. Sounds like it was like a kind of a passion of yours to just kind of put that at the forefront of the tree industry and make sure that you get in there and you make that change for the industry. That's, I guess, where the Academy Trained kind of was born, that concept. Is that kind of the next step? Yeah.
It was at, we created a small little internal training company with Jeremy. And that's how we grew. That's how we expand. There's only so many people that you can steal from other companies to come work for you. You need a climber, you got to steal them. And how do you get them? 50 cents more an hour, $1 more an hour. You hopefully put a Craigslist ad out, or someone sees your trucks and calls you and you're like, you're a climber, you're hired. Just come in. 20 years experience. Perfect. And you don't know what you're really getting. And we learned that you have to start from the ground up. So we built a little academy called the Climber Arborist Apprenticeship Program internally for the company. And that's what really helped us scale. So during that time, I was left the company and I was working on building my own concrete company up called Trip Hazard. And I was building that up, and I got a call from a company that's been in business for about 36 years. And they go, hey, we've watched your company grow over the last 5 years. And either one, you guys are smuggling drugs for the cartel and to be able to grow that size with that much money, or two, you guys figured out how to do something. And I would like to sit down and talk to you. Came in, chatted with the owners, fell in love with them, said, I'm starting a concrete company up. I got 90 days that I'm going to give you everything I have in the tree care industry. Go for it. Use it, do it, whatever you want. Because I didn't know if this stuff would actually work again. I didn't know. I only worked from one company. I didn't know if this recipe could go to another tree company and work. Came in, first 90 days, we grew the company by 25%. They had about 30 employees. And the next 3 years, we were able to grow that company close to almost 400 people in the next 36 months and open up new markets, new revenue streams that were coming in, pushed on the social media, on the marketing side, the SEO, recreating website, really designing and pushing to become a brand that was recognized across the country in 3 years. I mean, we 100x'd what the company was doing in a very short amount of time with that. And one of the ways we scaled was the academy. We started an internal company, a training company, because it worked. And brought in one of my close friends, Jared Abergina. If you're listening to this, Jared, what's up, dude? Brought in Jared. Jared, great climber, well-known, came in, and we started building and building something out internally for this company. But then we realized our mission as a company was to elevate the standard of the industry. And we weren't doing that. We're only elevating ourselves. So we took this and what we built, and we had our pilot course, and we brought in some big companies, 3,000 employees, 500 employees, 800 employees. These companies came in, we took 25, they were able to send 3 employees per company. And we had our first test run for 5 days of the academy. And to watch 25 professionals at the end of that tear up and cry and say, I've been waiting for something like this my whole life. We've never had this in our industry. Knew that we were onto something. So we opened up the academy to everybody and anybody across the world to be able to have it, to online trainings, to hands-on trainings. We travel around and work with different tree companies, build training and safety programs for them, built mini academies for that. So you don't have to come to us. We're going to build an academy at your place so you can train, onboard, and scale your people's knowledge and skills at what they do every single day. We created the first ever social media online for the tree care industry where you can post jobs, get hired, post your trainings and different stuff. We haven't really launched it, but it's there, working out some kinks and bugs, but it's there. So doing all that to really change an industry and to get people paid more and to get less deaths in our industry.
That's amazing right there. I think, a couple of things you said right there. So when you create a system, a well-oiled machine where people can come in, they can learn the basics, they can move up, they can continue their education, people want to be a part of that. It's a professional organization. There's a step-by-step process. There's a way to get to the next notch up, and things like that. People appreciate working for companies like that are well organized. I think number one, that pretty much is a marketing plan just for attracting new talent to your business. I think in a whole, just in one thing right there, just doing training. We have a lot of clients, and I'm sure you guys could help with training courses and just coming in and putting that together for them, for their operations, for their hiring, for all of that stuff. So that's a huge benefit there. And then the other thing is that just kind of also tells the public that this is a good tree company because they're focused on, health and safety of their people, right? So that's kind of, it becomes part of their mission statement, their core values, and all those different types of things. So it sounds like just that took off like wildfire, and it really didn't matter almost kind of what type of blue collar niche business it was. It was kind of a similar process. I mean, mainly for tree service probably. But any blue collar business could probably implement something similar like that, correct? Or is it?
No, 100 correct. And a lot of blue collar industries, they have that already. Not our industry is a fist bump. Here's a hard hat, $15 an hour. Cross your fingers. They don't die. Throw them in the field. They're going to get hazed by their team to see if they're tough enough to be in the tree care industry. And maybe if they make it a certain amount of time, I might teach them how to climb, but I'm not going to teach them too much, because if I teach them too much, they're going to leave and make $1 more an hour. So I'm going to dangle that carrot so much and stretch it out. And then once they leave, I'm going to get another body to throw in. That's our routine in the industry. So, to be able to, somebody in the industry, people always say, I don't want a job. I want a career. Right. And that's been the saying forever. And I don't believe that's true for people. I don't believe they even want a career. People want a purpose. They want a purpose. They go to work every day. A third of their life is mostly spent working with other individuals doing something. Why are they doing that? What is the freaking purpose behind it? What am I doing? Am I making the world better? Am I helping people? It's not just about creating that dollar. And when you can create a pathway for individuals to be able to better their life, to better other people around them, and have a purpose at the end in what they're doing, that's marketing in itself, and you will get the best talent around will come to you because you have an awesome program. I had people on a waiting list to get in, begging to get in, top people that anybody would have. And I had a list of them, and I just couldn't get everybody in. So I needed two parts. I needed to scale on the front end, on the social media, on the marketing, on the blast with the clients, going after new bids, strategizing new techniques of how to be able to change the way we're doing something, to be able to get in, to attract new clients. And then I also needed on the back end. The back end is, how do I scale and get the work done? If I can do this on the front end and I get all these leads and all this stuff and I sell, you got to have the back end. So we have the front end and we have the back end that have to work together. And we call that the dynamic duo. You need someone on the front end that leads all marketing and sales, and you need someone on the back end that runs the entire operation. And these two people together are the dynamic duo for any company to be successful. You got to find those two people.
That's right. Yeah. Because I mean, if you're bringing on all the work, what good is it if you don't have the operations and the fulfillment, on the back end to take care of everybody? So yeah, I mean, I think all of that's amazing. For Academy Trained, what types of tree companies, maybe people listening are interested in something like this, what type of tree companies would be like your kind of best fit, or what's kind of the best fit for you guys? Is it the smaller company? Is it the mid-sized company, or kind of the bigger, larger tree company, or all three?
When we had our first training, one of the things that opened our eyes was one of our requests was you had to be climbing for at least a year. And we wanted those people to come in because we didn't have to teach them all the basics right away, and we could jump right into some stuff, right? Well, people didn't read that on the emails and what we sent them. And probably about 8 people had zero experience. Zero. I'm talking none. So we had to take 25-year veterans that are trainers within their company who came to learn how we do it so they could take it back to their company, because in the return, we've seen people come through and we go, where'd you learn that from? They're like, oh, I learned it from so-and-so. We're like, he was at the academy.
They came through you guys anyway. Yeah.
But that was part of our mission. It was making the industry better, right? So we had to take people with 25-year experience and zero experience, and we had to teach a 5-day course and be able to make sure everybody got something out of it. And once we were done, it was successful. So now we're looking at it where I don't care if you have 4 people, if you have 4,000 people, we can customize and build a program for you across the board. Working with some of the biggest names in our industry, and people that you never heard of, before. The same program, we can customize this program, but the majority of it is the same across the board, small or big for you.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can just scale it to as many people they have personnel wise. Yeah. And is it a little bit of a coaching angle in it as well? I mean, you've been there, done that. You've seen this. You've grown into multiple markets before, where I'm sure you go in, you set up shop in a market. You've got to build it from the ground up because there's demand in that market, but you've got to find the people, right, and stuff. So you've seen that already with the tree company you were a part of for that many years. Is it kind of a coaching type process as well, where they're kind of guided on what next steps to do with people hiring and things like that too, or just mainly just training on the safety with the climbers and the other people?
It starts off where, it's not training. It's not just training. You're dealing with personalities. You're dealing with personal life. You're dealing with ups and downs and all sorts of stupid decisions people make, that are coming in. So you're training the human part of it. You're training them to be better people, to be pros, to turn pro. Most people think they're a professional, but they're not a true professional. They have a profession they do, but how do they turn pro? Helping them to become pros, helping them to become trainers so they can multiply of not just us training them, but go out and train. People that work for different tree companies that we train, we have to train and educate the owners and the managers before almost the employees that are working.
Kind of a buy-in from them, right?
They have to believe in it. Yeah, they have to believe in it. They have to want it. And when you can change their mindset and they believe there's a bigger purpose, they see the vision of what's possible. They're able to feed it down because everybody follows that leader. And if that leader goes left, your whole company goes left. If that leader goes right, the whole company goes right. And in wrestling, we used to say your head is the steering wheel. So wherever that head goes, the body will go no matter what. So wherever you direct that head, the body will go. And same thing in the head of a company, wherever that head goes, that rest of the body is going to go. So, working with the head, getting their mind, setting up system processes, and then a way to measure them and have a scorecard so they know if they're winning or they're losing, and holding them accountable to that.
That's awesome. So Academy Train is taken off. You guys are kind of, do you have clients, I guess, tree companies across the country that you're already working with today?
Yeah, we sure do. We opened a location in Colorado. We're working with some other companies. The goal is to have the academy set up in about 30 states around the country. So people don't have to travel all the way to the TCI Expo to get education. People don't have to come all the way to Arborfest to get education. People can go within a couple hours and have training that's happening on a monthly basis. And it's not just sitting in a lawn chair, watching Jared up the tree, performing something. And then, like Jared says, I'm giving them enough to go out in the field and kill themselves with. You're sitting there, you're watching, like, okay, I'll try that. Where do you try it? You try it out in the field. next to power lines with a half dead tree next to a house. You're going to try the new technique that you learned from a climbing demo with somebody up in the tree while you're sitting in a long chair with sun in your eyes on there. So giving these individuals a hands-on experience, because the majority of the people in our industry, they learn by hands-on. That's why they're in our industry. So when they can do hands-on and they can perform it and have a coach right there with them that corrects them and fix their mistakes, it helps build their confidence and their knowledge to go out there in the field to be able to do this dangerous work every day.
Right. That's the learn by doing concept, right? They get out there and they get their hands dirty. They do it with the trainer and they can kind of get feedback as they're doing it, practicing it, getting the best, whatever that is for them as far as watching it. Because you can only watch so much stuff. And until you get in the game, you're not really sharpening the skills that much.
That's true.
That's awesome, man. Well, that keeps it more regional, and it's something that's going to be closer by to people. So Academy Trained will be either probably in their region, Southeast, Northeast, Southwest, Northwest, center of the country, whatever, Midwest. So there's probably an academy near you wherever you're located across the country. And if not, there'll be one soon. If not already in your state, right? Because the goal is 30. Is that what you're saying?
Goals 30, to be in different states and also to be in the colleges. We're working right now, 6 different colleges. We're working with the UAA, Utility Arborists Association, the TCIA. We're working with ISA, some other local tree companies to build out the college program. So right now we're training in 6 different colleges, and the college course that companies like Pacific Gas and Electric are paying for, different grants are paying for. We have free courses for people to come through and go through 200 hours of education that you CPR certified, EHAP certified, OSHA 10 certified. You learn to climb, run equipment, run a chainsaw, tree identification, first aid, CPR, so much, and it's free out there. So looking to have that more across the country in the future with all the local colleges to provide free training to individuals to be able to get in and then be able to go to tree companies and have something that they can offer rather than knocking on the door and hopefully they need someone to pull brush.
That's awesome, man. Well, it makes people more well-rounded individuals too, just getting all of that quality training and education about different things that are kind of sort of affiliated, but maybe not. I mean, the CPR thing's awesome. That's something cool to get. I remember I got that in college. Worked at the University of Georgia Student Center at the weight room facility there for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And that was one of the requirements is we had to get CPR certified. And I've never forgotten it, right? It's been 20 plus years ago now, but I've never forgotten it. So it's a cool thing to get. It's a nice little hitch on the belt there, CPR certified.
Have you recertified yourself?
I have not. So I'm sure that puppy's expired by now. So
that definitely doesn't last for 20 years. That's for sure.
It definitely doesn't, I'm sure. But
we got to get you through we got to get you through a couple courses.
There you go. Well, we'll be at TCIA, man. We'll probably we'll be in the same building here in a couple of months. We'll come by and check it out, see what's happening.
Well, we're going to be having the Climb Expo at TCIA. So we partner with them to run the Climb Expo part of it. So you're going to have to come, pick out some gear, and we'll get you up a rope.
Dude, that might be kind of scary for this guy right here. You know what? I think I was right next to you. So if you guys were on the Climb Expo, my booth last year, I believe, was like right on the corner. It was like a pretty heavy traffic area. Everybody that came around that corner was going to go see that Climb Expo. I think I was right beside him last year.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't move much. I stayed in one spot. Yeah. I didn't even go down to the main floor for like 5 minutes. And then I was right back up. And I was like, I didn't even see the trade show. I didn't even walk around and see half the people of all my friends.
It's hard to go wall to wall across the entire place because it's so big. So you end up kind of staying in a couple of little areas the whole time, Well, that's awesome, man. Academy Trained. What a great purpose and what a good thing to bring up the tree care industry in itself. Take us through through the podcast, man. What's going on with the Two Tree Guys podcast? What's that all about? Tell people what they can expect with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's, Jared and I, how do we connect the world? How do we connect our industry together? And one of that was leveraging technology and, starting the Academy Trained online to do that was one thing, but man, there really wasn't many great podcasts out there for our industry, for people like, gosh, there's thousands of podcasts, Joe Rogan, Real AF, Andy Frisella, all these guys, How I Built This, some great podcasts, and they're entertaining, they're funny, they're real. So we wanted to create something that was real and that our industry can relate to. So we started the Two Tree Guy podcast. It was originally called Two Tree Guys and a Bucket of Beer, but that name was too long. But we just switched it to Two Tree Guys, and it was at the end of every day or in the morning, it was Jared and I, we were shooting the shit and talking about tree care stuff and talking about going fishing this weekend and barbecuing and, family stuff and struggles and things we learned and just friends coming together and helping each other and talking real at the tailgate. So we wanted to create a podcast where it was like that. And I said, you know what, Jared, if nobody listens to this, the main focus is we're entertaining ourselves and we're having fun. And there's plenty of videos and content. So when we're dead and gone, somebody will hear our voice and get something out of it, and it will live on forever. And he didn't believe in the podcast. And we started the Two Tree Guy podcast, and it's been awesome. We have your What's Your Story segment that you individuals can come hear their story. We have our full length where you come in the studio and we drink beer at night or sometimes in the morning, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, and we have a good time and we shoot the shit and we talk about the industry and problems and different things going on in our life and how we can kind of give back and help the industry. We have our safety talks. We talk about different incidents that happen in the industry and how do we mitigate them? How do we fix this? What happened? What went wrong? So you can listen to that. And then we have our gear talks, bringing in different manufacturers, different products, side-by-side comparisons, talking about the products that you can learn about. But it's been definitely a blast, a lot of fun. Looking forward to having you on, Wes, on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to that, man. This will be fun.
Yeah, it'll be definitely a good time. And maybe when you come out to California, we'll have you in the studio to do a full-on podcast, drinking some beers and having a good time.
I'd love that, man. We need to get out there for sure. We've been out to Cali probably 3 or 4 times, man. We visited Southern Cal. Where else do we go? I went to San Diego another time. So we've been out there, man, a few times. Just it's that 4 or 5 hour time difference, the East Coast, West Coast thing. So it's a good ways out. We have to kind of really plan for it now that we got kids, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It becomes a little bit more challenging to do those longer travels, but yeah, that's some of the same reasons I created this podcast as well. Tree Service Marketing Profits. A lot of it's marketing content, just free stuff where people can learn how to market their tree service company. We do regular trainings on, a full, marketing program, and we do little bite-sized chunks of the whole program about Google Maps or Google Ads or local service ads or their email marketing or automation. And, a lot of people they don't have time enough in the day to read or sit around and read or something. So an audio podcast or a video podcast is something people consume on the go, on the fly, which is probably some of the same reasons you did it too. It just, and plus, I have a lot of fun doing it too. We get to interview really, great individuals like yourself that have value to add to the tree service industry, business owners, and, all different kinds of people affiliated with the tree care niche. So I have fun with it. And like you said, we're all going to be long gone 40, 50, 60 years from now, and nobody's going to remember who you were anyway. So it's like, might as well get out there and do something. So, yeah.
And hats off to you for doing it. When I seen the Instagram post come over, I was like, what? Oh, marketing company, Tree Service Digital. Okay. I heard of them. You do a podcast. I'm like, I definitely got to get on and support your podcast, because guys, let me tell you, the amount of work that Wes put in to build, develop, and push content out, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it's not raining down money from his podcast out there. So, when you guys listen to this, if you guys get something out of it, one thing we say on our podcast is pay the mother effing fee. And what is that? You need to share it, tag someone, post it. Don't just take, give back out there. And also too, let me tell you guys, that are listening to this on marketing. This is the most important thing I'm going to say on this whole podcast. Marketing leads the way. Marketing leads the way. If you want to grow your company, you need to focus 100% on marketing. Okay. There's only so much you can do. You need to focus on marketing, from your phone number to your branding, to your guys, to their uniforms, to the social media, to SEO, to, your website tracking. I mean, everything. You focus on that, you'll have more business coming into you than you know what to even do with. It's so important. You will not scale your business if you don't have marketing. Marketing leads the way every single time.
That's correct. I mean, most successful clients, they've been doing it for decades, marketing, right? And one of the things you got to look at too, and we teach with our program, is that you just need to have multiple lines in the water. I always do the fisherman analogy, right? If you're on a boat and you've got one fishing pole in the water, let's say you've got a website or you're doing direct mail only or something like that, right? Well, you've only got one chance really to catch a fish with that one line, one hook, one bait, right? But you got 10 fishing poles in the water, more than likely you're going to catch a lot more fish in the same condensed amount of time than you would with just one fishing pole in the water. So that's why we, advocate, website, Google Maps, getting good reviews, social media marketing, Google ads, search marketing, local service ads with the Google guaranteed. There's a lot of different things you can do, putting yard signs out, direct mail. It all works together. And like Phil says, people are going to see you once, they're going to see you 100 times. And that's really what's going to market and brand your company over the long haul. It's just going to make your company easier to grow because people are going to remember you and they're going to call you, they're going to refer you more often. So we see it every day when people kind of stick to it and do the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, it's the key to growth because you can only rely on referrals and word of mouth for so long. And it's kind of a roller coaster when you do that only. Even though those are the layups, of course, those are the best ones, probably 80 to 100% closing ratio. You've still got to push it out there and let people know about your company, loud and proud, and you'll grow your business if you do that type of thing. So Phil, man, I appreciate your time, man. I want to respect your time today. Did you have anything else you wanted to share or kind of leave people with a last, or, let them know where they can find you too, if you want to, give out your information?
Yeah, sure. I if anybody ever wants to call me and wants advice or needs help on anything, I'm an open book. I'll do what I can with the time I have to be able to help you. But you can contact me at Instagram is the.gipper, Gipper. You can call me. My phone number is 510-455-0829, or you can email me at phil@academy-trained.com. Get a hold of me and I'll help you. And just lastly, I always end my shows and things like that with, just to tell the industry to continue to elevate the standard of our industry through safety, training, and innovation.
That's great stuff. Well, I want to thank you for your time, Phil. Thanks for joining us today. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, if you got any comments or you got any questions, comment below and we'll be happy to answer your question afterwards. If you're on your podcast, like and subscribe to your favorite player. We're on all the major podcasts. And if you're going to be at TCIA, we're going to be there. So look us up. You got the two tree guys. We're going to be Academy Trained booth, correct? Is what you guys will be kind of at?
No, we'll have Academy Trained. We'll have the Two Tree Guy podcast. You want to come climb, test out some ropes and gear from different manufacturers, all hands on. You're going to be able to walk on the limb, work with spikes, and then we'll have our podcast going. So you'll be able to sign up and get on, a 10 to 15 minute little What's Your Story episode on the Two Tree Guy podcast, but they'll be right next to each other.
There you have it. Phil will be there. I'll be there. Tree Service Digital will have a booth as well. So we're looking forward to seeing all you guys there. Come see us if you want to reach out. And appreciate your time, Phil. Thanks a lot for the episode. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.
Wes, thanks, guys.